I want you to think about this. Allegedly, Sean Carter is responsible for enacting Hype Williams to put Aaliyah on a faulty plane to move her out the way as punishment for rejecting him, and so he could level up Beyonce, who was struggling.
We gather around the digital campfire, breath held and nerves buzzing because every corner of the conversation seems to echo the same unsettling question. Is Jaguar Wright a fearless whistleblower or the smoothest plant the entertainment machine has ever slipped into our collective drink? We keep replaying that moment she marched onto podcasts and live streams, dropping names like Diddy, Will Smith, and Bryshere the way a magician flings knives, only for new stories to surface hinting that the real illusionist might be Jaguar herself. We hardly blink before another jaw-dropping allegation rockets through the feeds, each one darker, juicier, and somehow even less verifiable than the last. And yet we can't look away. We are spellbound by the idea that she might be a lone knight battling shadowy moguls, but an ice-cold chill creeps up our spine every time someone mutters that chilling phrase, industry plant. What if the secrets she screams so loudly are bait, and we're all nibbling like starved fish, while the true monsters in tailored suits shift their treasure out the back door?
In her civil lawsuit, Cassie said that she was the victim of abuse, sexual assault, and at the hands of Diddy.
We remember the night she aimed her spotlight at Diddy. Yes, the very same Diddy, now pacing a BK Lynn cell, clutching court dates and betrayal in equal measure, accusing him of running debauchy freak-off gatherings where humiliations were currency and underage outsiders were shuffled through hidden tunnels beneath glittering mansions. We remember how she invoked Will Smith next, hinting at hushed truths about power plays and silent payoffs that Hollywood insiders supposedly swap like trading cards at exclusive brunches. Then came Bryshere, once a fresh-faced teen heartthrob, now a cautionary headline machine spiraling through public meltdowns, arrests, and mugshots. Jaguar told us Bryce was proof of the rot, that his breakdowns were fallout from elite abuse, and we were already dizzy. Yet, buried in her tirades was a slick sleight of hand, accusations so vast, so headline-ready, that we never quite paused to ask how she, and only she, always managed to be first on scene with inside detail. We lean closer because the whispers grow heavier. Insiders alleging that Jaguar's tear-stained confessions are carefully staged, that she's been lifted by unseen handlers who thrive on chaos. The tale spreads that she hushes legitimate survivors while feeding us manic monologues to derail real inquiries. Allie Carter steps forward as Exhibit A, eyes haunted yet determined, describing herself as a survivor of those very parties Jaguar loves to narrate. Allie claims Jaguar leaked her address, unleashed troll armies to shred her credibility, and threatened to bury any story that didn't revolve around Jaguar's own heroics. We shudder at the strategy. It's brilliant in a wicked way. Who dares challenge the self-proclaimed truth-teller without being branded a traitor to the cause?
We are not done. This investigation is ongoing, and I encourage anyone with information about this case to come forward and to do it quickly.
Questions become razor blades. Why would any genuine advocate sabotage another survivor? Why does Jaguar rail against Diddy by day, yet boast of slipping into his scandalous soirees to rescue victims at night, without a single corroborating photo or voice? We picture the opulent Star Island compound, the concealed hallway that witness Joseph Manzaro swears connected Gloria Stefan's property to Diddy's lair. Manzaro, paraded in that infamous mask, swore Diddy sneered, "He's gonna find out what we do to snitches tonight." We replayed Terrence Howard warning that handing over one's man card at predatory gatherings drains a person forever. "You don't get that back," he said, voice cracking with something that felt like soul-deep regret. We ache with the brutal possibilities, but still, no eyewitness stands up to confirm Jaguar's claimed heroics. Instead, we see lawsuit after lawsuit filed by strangers whose names she never mentioned, while she tours podcasts predicting doom for anyone daring to outshine her saga.
Did you ever have the opportunity where you got invited and you said no to it?
Hell yeah.
What was the consequences when you said no?
Puffy invited me for weeks, asking me to come and teach him how to, wanted me to be his acting coach for a while. Go there and he's sitting around just looking. I'm like, okay, what's the material you want to work on? He's just looking at me.
We wrinkle our brows at a timeline that reeks of strategy. Each time law enforcement advances, March raids on Diddy's mansions, shocking videos of hallway assaults, new court motions from prosecutors, Jaguar pops up with fresh, untraceable allegations that eclipse the legal updates in trending hashtags. We notice how she packages every episode with viral-ready catchphrases and sensational thumbnails, racking up views, PayPal tips, and a ravenous fan base convinced traditional journalists are terrified of her receipts. And when critics demand actual documents, she pivots, claiming her files are in secure locations or seized by the FBI, which conveniently means no one can inspect them.
About look at Diddy, for instance. Let's take a look at him. Let's take a look at. He has videos. He has videos of the parties. Now, what I've heard, which I don't know how much of it is in mainstream media, I don't really follow the story that much. But what I've heard from friends that are attorneys, friends of mine that have represented me before, agents and so on, is there's a bidding war going on right now.
Our suspense spikes when insiders connect dots between Jaguar's outbursts and carefully timed leaks that muddy lawsuits. Bryshere Gray's camp swears that minutes after they consult an attorney, Jaguar goes live, framing him as unstable and untrustworthy, thus poisoning potential testimony before it ever reaches a judge. Ali Carter's supporters present screenshots of burner accounts parodying Jaguar's talking points while doxing Carter's relatives. We feel the hairs lift on our necks, coordinated moves or coincidental chaos. We can't decide, yet we can't escape the stench of orchestration. We rewind to part 2 of our roller coaster, the bigger picture. The rise of industry plants, analysts chant in hushed dread, describing a world where hedge fund patrons, streaming executives, and aging moguls weaponize influencers who wear the rebel cloak yet secretly reinforce the old guard. What better shield for those under federal investigation than an outspoken affidavit who floods the algorithm with claims so wild they drown legitimate affidavits? We follow the money trail, a pattern of sponsorship deals, Cash App spikes, and sudden travel upgrades for Jaguar right after each incendiary stream. We swallow hard when someone suggests her hush-hush benefactor might be intertwined with the very empire she condemns, using her to muddy the water until the real sharks slip out a back-channel plea bargain.
So I'll tell you, I don't know how much, I don't like to say things that I know unless I see it. That there's a little difference, you know. But was it discussed? Was there descriptions from people I know that were at those? Yes, but here's another thing. So how many of these big entertainment parties and over the years and everything with as successful as you are, have you been around? Does anyone ever come up to you at a certain hour and say, okay, it's time to go? At those parties, they did.
We trace how conspiracy channels lap up her claims, linking Beyoncé's supposed puppet master Jay-Z to mysterious fires in LA, secret tunnels under storied arenas, and decades-old tragedies like the untimely plane crash that stole Aaliyah. Our feeds explode with fan theories that Jay allegedly keeps Beyoncé medicated for compliance, or that he silently bankrolls Diddy's defense to keep shared skeletons locked away. Each rumor is wilder, yet each garners millions of views before fact-checkers can breathe. By the time forensic receipts debunk half the story, a new Jaguar live stream is trending, and we're stumbling onward in a maze of rumor.
There's no vindication for me, because for 4 years, I've been screaming, not just Diddy, but Diddy and Jay-Z are monsters. And the victim-making machine kept going on.
We examined collateral damage. Bryce, once beloved for soulful vocals, now booked for petty altercations, each mugshot smeared with jeering captions about Jaguar's cursed canary. We watch him beg for privacy, only to have Jaguar dissect his every slip, casting herself as the only friend brave enough to tell his truth. Meanwhile, Ali Carter fights to get her official statements recognized amid a tidal wave of confusion. She insists Diddy's gatherings weren't mere after-hours trysts, but ritual-style ordeals involving underage victims, secrecy, and hush money disguised as marketing budgets. She pleads, focus on the minors, but her voice struggles against Jaguar's louder, glossier broadcasts. We're horrified by Carter's stories of waking in tunnels beneath schools and stadiums, yet when she tries to testify, detractors amplify Jaguar's smear that Carter is unstable. We see Carter's GoFundMe stall while Jaguar's Cash App soars. The dissonance scorches our conscience.
That's my initial reaction, because that's how I always feel when I see situations like this. And then there's just like this weird sense of grief, because it is Diddy, right? Diddy is a hip-hop hero. He's an ordinary person who did extraordinary things. To sit here and act like the man wasn't a huge part of our upbringing is a damn lie. So there's this weird sense of grief, like another one of our heroes has ruined their legacy and it's their own fault because of poor choices.
We contemplate the psychological warfare. Survivors tell us the worst wound isn't always the physical violation, but the public doubt seeded by counter-narratives. When a self-styled champion commanders the mic, the real victims watch their memories discounted, their credibility shattered, their healing stalled. We imagine how that feels, an emotional echo chamber where each attempt to speak triggers a digital barrage labeling them copycats or clout chasers. We marvel bitterly at the ease with which a catchy monologue can override sworn affidavits. We pivot to the institutions that breed silence. Powerful streaming platforms court controversy-fueled clicks. Record labels still profit from back catalog streams even as lawsuits mount. We recall how Diddy's Revolt network tried to distance itself once civil suits piled up, yet his catalog spiked in streams every time Jaguar name-dropped him. The cycle is perverse genius. Scandal drives curiosity, curiosity drives revenue. Revenue funds settlements, and the wheel keeps spinning while survivors cling to fragments of justice.
Nor did you apologize for lying that you didn't do what you knew you was on tape doing. So who was this apology for? I'll tell you who it was for. Diddy's ego, Diddy's brand. Diddy and his handlers are looking at this all wrong. You trying to salvage his
We can't ignore the echo of Terrence Howard's stark confession, the one that ricochets through our thoughts. A man don't take it, a man gives it, he said, voice tight with anger at those who accepted certain invitations. The underlying translation felt brutal. Hand over your dignity at one of those high-profile gatherings and you might never reclaim it. We wonder who hosted, who attended, who watched, who filmed. We remember Manzaro's claim that an assistant hissed, "This is part of his punishment." We pale at the idea of hushed tunnels linking multi-million-dollar estates so guests could vanish between properties unseen by paparazzi lenses. We survey the scorched earth battleground that is social media. 50 Cent posts memes of Jay-Z on milk cartons, teasing that he's gone silent while Diddy's crisis deepens. Kris Jenner allegedly circles Justin Bieber, offering maternal-style guidance, with the side of reality show airtime, of course. Bieber, shell-shocked, shaved his head and unfollowed Diddy. Friends whispering he's rattled by memories of late-night mentorship sessions now dripping with suspicions. We see how a single lawsuit can ripple outward, spooking A-listers, halting brand deals, and splintering friendships that once looked bulletproof.
So why does it all come to a head now? Why now? Why?
Because he's the acceptable monster at this time, like R. Kelly was the last time I sat on this couch.
So who's next?
Y'all don't see the lineup?
Yeah, we see the lineup.
We study Jay-Z's silence. Is it tactical calm from a boardroom warrior or nervous hush from a titan with loose threads dangling? Dame Dash once implied Jay was bitter over losing Aaliyah's affection, that he cozied up to R. Kelly despite knowing unsavory secrets. Wendy Williams later cheekily claimed Jay had a romantical thing with Foxy Brown before Beyoncé blossomed into his queen. We know that every time Jaguar repeats one of these half-proven tales, new TikTok investigators swarm, piecing together flight logs and backstage snapshots the way amateur sleuths hunt serial criminals. The line between healthy inquiry and witch hunt blurs. We cannot unsee the financial chessboard. Diddy, once topping hip-hop rich lists, now bleeds legal fees, bail denials stacking like bricks. Investors retreat, attorneys resign, under no circumstances able to continue. Each courtroom filing includes lurid allegations of trafficking schemes, illicit substances, forced humiliation. The prosecution references freak-offs, multi-day escapades where certain people allegedly provided liquid courage disguised in top-shelf bottles while hidden cameras rolled. Diddy pleads not guilty. Still, 3 judges deny bail, citing potential witness tampering. Meanwhile, Jaguar floods the timeline again, her railing so thunderous we almost miss that key evidence hearing quietly postponed because defense counsel withdrew.
You get that neural link. You'll never outthink me. Ever. All I do is frustrate your AI.
We recognize the chilling genius of planting an uproar, stall proceedings, exhaust investigators, contaminate juror pools. Whether Jaguar is knowingly complicit or merely intoxicated by limelight, the impact is identical. Real claims drown in sensation, victims fracture into factions, and the powerful stall for time. We fear how many other shiny truth tellers might already be out there, each a strategic wildfire waiting to be ignited when the spotlight grows too bright on real evidence. We glance at the human fallout collecting like debris along a highway, underage victims now grown reliving horror for depositions, B-listed associates spiraling into panic as subpoenas arrive, crew members who once fetched towels now sweating over whether they signed those NDA forms correctly. We feel queasy imagining forgotten backup dancers or bodyguards waking each night at 3 a.m., wondering if tomorrow's headline will feature their face in unflattering stills.
And I'm not saying allegedly.
Oh.
I'm saying, Sean Carter, you're a piece of shit. Taking Pimp C wasn't bad enough. You just want to go down there and you want to just remove all of the balls from every real gangster in Houston.
We press our palms to the uncomfortable truth. We, the audience, play a starring role. We click, we comment, we share live stream rants without verifying. Our hunger for shock gives oxygen to whichever megaphone screams loudest. We sometimes forget to ask how many views equal justice, how many retweets bury nuance. We wonder whether, in our rush to uncover villains, we have enshrined new ones. We confront the moral knot. If Jaguar Wright is indeed an industry plant paid to scatter conspiracy confetti, then every heart-stopping tale she's sold us might be a decoy. If she's genuine, then the backlash against her is a meticulously funded smear, designed to silence the bravest voice of our era. We push back in our chairs, dizzy with the dread that both could be partially true, and that the entertainment colossus is versatile enough to script double bluffs that would shame a chess grandmaster. We then lift our gaze to the horizon and spy the wider pattern, how institutions absorb scandal like a dark cloak, rebrand, reemerge, keep streaming numbers climbing. The corporate engine rarely stalls, it merely swaps out tarnished parts. And in the sweltering heat of rumor, survivors wait, hoping we eventually tire of fireworks and focus on sworn testimony, forensic data, and the painstaking march of the court docket. We cannot shake the image of Ally Carter's solemn warning, "Watch for mysterious blazes," she said. Infernos often hide deeper agendas. Just months later, wildfires ravaged LA hillsides, and the internet exploded with speculation about scorched vaults and burnt-out tunnels. Were they accidents or smoldering cover-ups? We have no proof, but the seed of suspicion has sprouted, watered by Jaguar's hints and fed by our endless appetite for intrigue.
This, but it just seems very suspicious when you go through and you look at in the history of different people that can make you go away if listen, I've worried about some of the things that I talk about on my show.
We return to Bryshere Gray, staring down cameras, eyes glassy. He pleads for the world to stop tying his every stutter to elaborate conspiracies. Yet Jaguar announces she alone possesses recordings that will redeem him. Tomorrow, always tomorrow. We watch him vanish from social feeds, checking into wellness facilities, while Jaguar posts selfies in upgraded hotel suites, thanking fans for funding the mission. The optics punch us in the gut. We find ourselves battling cognitive whiplash as each week reveals another flicker of duplicity. Jaguar hyping top-secret lawsuits that never materialize, yet simultaneously predicting legal moves that hit headlines days later. Is she wired into prosecutors' inboxes or simply guessing with uncanny showbiz instincts? We lose track, and that's the point. Confusion is currency in this new war for perception. We force ourselves to weigh receipts one final time. Federal filings accuse Diddy of using business networks to recruit victims, to transport them across state lines, to entice them to elaborate gatherings where intimacy workers and underage individuals allegedly mingled with A-list stars. Attorneys call the pattern racketeering. Gloria Estefan's team denies involvement. LeBron's rep labels the story impossible. Jay-Z's camp stays silent. Meanwhile, Jaguar's YouTube thumbnails shout breaking, FBI raid confirms what I said, though no press release supports her claim. We sway between triumph and skepticism until we feel seasick.
Why the f would you need to sign a nigga don't ask about a plane crash if it was accidental?
Do you feel like...
Riddle me that. Riddle me that. Work with me here in this moment.
And I'm going to ask you.
A plane crash should be accidental.
Should be.
We sense a historic reckoning looming over the entire music empire. Labels scramble to scrub catalogs, streaming giants quietly tweak algorithm recommendations, corporate sponsors duck for cover. Yet we know that for every throne that tumbles, another throne waits, polished and ready. Will future truth seekers learn from this mess? Or will fresh influencers, maybe groomed in secret listening sessions, step into the spotlight with new crowd-pleasing expos? We stare into the swirling headlines and finally inhale a long, shaky breath, because the biggest twist might be that Jaguar Wright's saga says more about us than about her. We crave heroes and villains in equal measure, and we are dangerously comfortable letting the line blur if the story feeds our thirst for sensational drama. We want to believe there's a single puppet master to expose, but real power networks aren't so tidy. They are hydras, sprouting heads faster than any live stream rant can slice them off. We watch the calendar tick toward Diddy's May trial. Bail still denied, evidence motion still flying, attorneys jumping ship. We listened for the hammers of justice, but also for the click of new uploads from Jaguar, from Carter, from 100 minor players ready for their moment. We brace for fireworks because the entertainment world rarely delivers quiet endings.
Why would any testimony about what happened leading up to it need to be covered under a non-disclosure agreement if there wasn't foul play?
Now, mind you, September 11th happened a week later. 9/11 happened a week later. Do you think that took away from it?
Once again.
We stand at the climax now, breath burning in our lungs, adrenaline humming like electric wires. If Jaguar Wright is an industry plant, then we've all been dancing to a tune designed to mask the deepest wrongdoing, and that thought chills us more than any jump scare. If she's the genuine article, then the media machine has successfully convinced millions to doubt a woman risking everything to expose predators. Either way, the cost is staggering, and the truth, whatever shape it takes, may scorch everything we thought we knew about fame, trust, and the stories we consume. So we ask, with hearts pounding, when the gavel finally falls, will we discover the puppet strings? Or find only mirrors reflecting our own craving for spectacle? Until that verdict echoes across the industry, hold your nerve, keep your eyes sharp, and stay safe out there, friends, because the next revelation might drop before we even finish this goodbye.